Welcome back to another episode of the Buffalo Happy Hour. Mike, what's going on?
Dude, I'm home. I'm more comfortable here than I am at my own house, and I'm equally as comfortable in an Irish pub as I am here. I love this place. So we're with our boys over at First Line Brewing. So we'll start with introductions, and then we'll dive right into it.
Yeah. I'm Michael Majorana. 23 years old.
I'm Shane Stewart. I'm 25 years old. And we are the owners of First Line Brewing.
Yeah. I don't know why we said our ages.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fine.
I feel like I'm in a job interview.
Yeah. We're 28 years old for the record.
Sorry.
I'm also 28 years old.
I didn't know what else to say, so I just threw in my age.
So what do you guys do here? You guys are the owners, but do you have specific roles?
Yeah, so I run more of the business end of the business, I guess, and help out with him brewing as little as possible.
Yeah, I'm the head brewer and social media and public relations, I guess you could say. So we kind of do it all together, but we have our own little niche parts that we mainly focus on.
Yeah.
But we work together with a lot of stuff.
So talking about your age, you guys are young, but what did you guys go to school for? Did you go to school? What was the original aspirations on what you wanted to do outside of brewing?
Yeah, no, I went to school for finance. So like growing up, I always wanted to own my own business. I didn't necessarily know what that business was going to be. I always told people like, yeah, I want to own a business. And they'd be like, oh, what do you want it to be? And I said, I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to do something where it was my own or ours, really. And yeah, if it was a brewery, I really didn't think about owning a brewery until we dove into brewing beer. But it's basically my background.
Yeah, I went to school for business, and I remember in all my business classes, my professor would say, like, 1 out of 3 people in here is going to own their own business. And in my head, I'm like, that ain't me. I'm not going to own my own business. So I originally got into sales in food service, and my dad has done that forever, so kind of followed his footsteps. And then along the way, we just came up with this, and this just, snowballed into what it is now. So never, ever envision owning my own business, but I'm very, very happy that we do.
Yeah, look at you guys now. You're killing it.
I wouldn't say that, but we're trying.
We're trying.
We're trying.
So you want to tell people where we are for like the location?
Yeah, we are at 4906 South Buffalo Street. No, I'm kidding. We're at Orchard Park. Orchard Park, right next to the country club. We're connected to Beers.
So this place actually originally, when we found it a couple years ago, used to be a dry cleaner. Very small space, and we wanted to start small. So we picked this spot, rebuilt it. We were lucky enough to put an expansion on before we opened. And I think we currently are operating the smallest brewery in Western New York for sure. At least I think so. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but
yeah, I don't know.
I've never been to one that's this small.
It was even smaller. The camera can't pick it up, but it was basically just this wall right here. And we didn't, when we started this business or looked at this location, we didn't anticipate an expansion until like a couple of years. But then we got in here, we set up the brewing equipment. And there's a lot more that we needed that we didn't know. So thank God we had this expansion, even though it's pretty small right now. We squeezed a lot out of it, and we're very thankful that we did that because now we can even expand further and add more like levels to the building. And it was always in the goal or the business plan to start small, and then we needed to increase the brewing production equipment first, and then we were going to do another expansion, but everything just fell into place where we're timing it. Hopefully perfect, probably not. Where we're going to get the equipment and the expansion at the same time so then we can fit them all in and then reopen.
Sure.
So bringing it back to when you guys first started, you're a local cat, and how did you guys meet to then enter the brewing world? Because that is a pretty intense industry to just wake up one day and you're like, I'm just going to brew to this.
Well, I'm not actually from here. I'm from Philly. I moved here in 2012, which was my sophomore year of high school. And I met him through high school baseball, and we became friends during the team. We'd actually go to the gym together. And then through high school, I was very close friends with his sister. After high school and college, we all stayed in touch. And I started dating his sister, and then that brought me and him closer together.
Yeah.
And the brewing side of it, now we are engaged, so he's stuck with me now. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because if you weren't engaged and things went south, this business partnership would be a little bit.
Even if they do get married, or they are going to get married, if they do go south, I don't know what the hell we're going to do.
You're out.
I'm out. But yeah, no, I'm from Orchard Park. Grew up Orchard Park, West Seneca, so I've been in the community ever since I was born. But yeah, it was really, we went to the gym. We probably like hung out before you started hanging out with my sister, maybe a couple times a month, where it really was just the gym. And then they started to hang out more, and then he was always at my house. Couldn't get rid of him. And then it was initially during Bills games. We'd go to Wegmans and do craft your own packs. And then I don't know.
That's where the obsession of craft beer started.
Yeah, because we were Bud Light guys.
Growing up,
still am
did
kinda.
not like craft beer. I was never into craft beer growing up. I think a lot of the stigma around craft beer, which I think there still is today, for people who haven't tried it, they only think of the super bitter IPAs.
Absolutely.
And that's the only thing I ever really tried. And I didn't like stouts. I didn't like IPAs, so I was always just light beer all the time. And then I think it was your idea one Bill's game, like, hey, let's get craft your own 4-pack or something. So we started doing that every Bills game, and we would share each other's beers and say, and then I started to become obsessed with craft beer, and we would just drink it all the time.
Yeah.
And then it was his idea or his dad's idea.
I think it was my dad's
homebrewing
idea
kit. Hey, you guys should
homebrew.
Homebrew, and you get these kits. And I didn't even know that was a thing. And
but then we left him out, my dad, because he said we don't give him too much credit. But he goes like, yeah, let's brew some beer. And then I brought it to you, and then we were just brewing one day, and he walked, because we were still living at home at the time. And he walked into the kitchen, and he's like, you guys brewing beer? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, dude, I've been wanting to do this for however long. And then that's just really how it started. We started brewing, and we didn't really necessarily start brewing in hopes to start a brewery anytime soon, maybe down the road.
Sure.
But it all happened very, very fast. We had the logo, but we kind of jumped it early in social media posting, where we posted the logo on our personal accounts. We didn't have a business account. And then we got hit up by local distributors and convenience stores wanting our beer. And we literally brewed a couple of times, and we're like, okay, well, maybe we got something here. So then we really dove into it, started understanding the science behind everything, and wanted to put our patriotism and then the love of beer together and create a really cool atmosphere for people to come and hang out.
Yeah. So patriotism aspect of it, you're called First Line. What's the reasoning behind it?
Our family, we grew up in families with tons of service members. There's a wall over there of pictures of our relatives, our friends. We grew up in families that serve and respect the people who serve. I'm a fireman, so when we were coming up with the idea, it was funny because First Line came down the road. We decided we wanted to make a brewery. We were like, well, what do we want to do? We don't want to be just a brewery. We want to have some sort of like cool aspect to it. So it was either like a Buffalo style brewery, which there already is one, and then we were like, let's do something that's patriotic. So we were bouncing around these names, kind of like not serious about opening up a brewery, like, you know, when like a little kid makes a lawn mowing service or something, and they name it, they come with a cool name and a logo. It wasn't ever serious.
It took us a long time to get that name. I remember we would text each other like every night, just random names.
Yeah.
But First Line, it really means like we put America first, and we respect those that put their life on the line for us. So we kind of just, I don't know. My sister tends to think that she thought of First Line.
She thinks she named it. She didn't name it.
She didn't name it.
She'll take that to the grave with her. Me and her were sitting in her room trying to think of it, and I came back from the bathroom, and I said it, and I remember, and she'll still say today, if she was here, she said she thought of it. So maybe I'll just let her.
He sent the name to me. I didn't like it at first.
I'll let her win. Yeah, he didn't like it because he was like,
it.
what's the logo going to look like? And then that's where I was like, I was thinking of the flag, and I was like, well, what if we put the words underneath the top half of the flag? And I sent in the logo, and we were like, this is actually pretty cool.
So then we had to check to see if it was available. A lot of names that we did have was not available. So
what were some other names that you were throwing around?
We actually had
we don't like talking about them.
Our very first ever name was Minutemen, which is, you know, like the people back in the day, the
militia.
Basically that was the original name, and we had like random logos we made up. We actually had a business account for it on Instagram. I think it's long run. Maybe it's still there if you searched it. I don't know. But then we found out that a brewery in Brooklyn, I think, has a big beer called Minutemen. So we were like all bummed out.
It might be Sam Adams.
I don't remember what it was.
Either way, we didn't use it.
But we didn't go with it, thank God. I think it would have been kind of, you know, different than what we have now. We love the name we have now. So this came out of nowhere. Honestly, when that name was taken, it kind of felt like the whole mission of opening up a brewery was like, whatever. Maybe this just isn't worth it.
Oh yeah.
So because then at that point we started to look into like the processes of getting a license and everything, and it was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And honestly, I say it to this day, if it wasn't for the community's response when we posted that first thing, like, hey, our dreams are to open up a brewery that does this, and it's called First Line Brewing. If it wasn't for that response, we got in the newspaper for that in Orchard Park.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, let's do this. Like, it kind of kickstarted. If it wasn't for that, I don't think we would have ever actually
Yeah,
gone through with
because
it.
on the business end, we can't do anything unless, like, get a license or anything unless we have the building. But we don't want to sign a lease if we don't know what we're doing or don't know if people like our beer. So it's kind of an upside down process where you got to get the building first. You got to get the equipment to send to the SLA that, okay, you have this specific area designated to brewing. So it was like a big commitment to do that. And then we're like, okay, well, hopefully we get approved for the license. So when looking at a building, we had to tell whoever it was, the landlord or whatever, that this is all conditional until if we get approved, then like, okay, let's go further with this. But if we don't, we really got nothing.
Yeah.
So it was very scary. We had a couple other locations in mind, but Orchard Park is our home. We grew up here. We know the community. We pretty much know almost everyone that walks through that front door, which is really cool to see. And we just like giving back to the community that raised us, necessarily if it's Orchard Park, but Buffalo in general,
Yeah.
and even the country.
Yeah, so jumping all the way back to when you guys were home brewing, at what point, like you said that you were getting hit up by distributors and everything like
Yeah.
that, but at what point was that like, we really need to start doing this?
So it was, we started to do like those homebrew kits, and it was for fun, and we didn't know what we were doing, and with the brewing process. And I remember vividly when it all comes around when we released it to the public that we did everything that we've done in this business with releasing information is always way too soon.
Yeah,
We put
yeah,
a coming
no one
soon
followed
sign
us
on the
about
front
it.
door almost 2 years before we opened.
Yeah.
Once we got the
Really?
building. Yeah, because we
Yeah.
thought it was going to go quick.
And then we got in trouble with the village, and we had to take it down because we covered the wall with the windows.
It was just so I remember we put that post out, got a big response, and me, my fiance, him and his fiance went out to breakfast like the next day or something, and we're sitting down and we get a phone call from the owner of Consumers, and he's like, I love what you guys are doing, when can I get you and put you on a shelf? And we were like, oh my gosh, I don't know, we have nothing right now, we don't have anything started. So that was where we were like, okay, we need to figure this out. We need to figure out how we're going to start this, where we're going to go. And the best way for us to do that was we started to have like weekly meetings with our fathers, because they are experienced in business and they're also our dads. So they gave us a lot of advice, and we had to convince them to come on board with us. And
After leaving them out for the first time.
after
I
we
know.
know out. And then once we started to get the ball rolling with that, that's when the going crazy with brewing hit.
Sure.
For me, at least.
we had to convince them. It took a lot of convincing, but then we started to produce pretty good tasting beer, and we kind of we're like, okay, we got something here.
Well, that was the thing. A lot of our family and friends, when we told them about this venture, they're like, do you even know how to make beer?
Yeah, a
And
lot
we're
of
like-
people did not. They were supportive of us, but they didn't really think we can turn it into something because we didn't have that background. But we put in hard work to understand like what brewing was, and we're just chugging along with producing beers that we like to drink, which is first and foremost important to us. If we don't like the beer, we're not gonna make it. So
Do you remember the first beer that you brewed and how awful it tasted?
yeah, so it was a brown ale, a maple brown
It
ale.
was in a box. It was one of those
Yeah.
kits.
I feel like that's a tough one to start
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
tasted
why
like-
we did that.
I think there was like 3 options. We went to Consumers and picked a box, and it was like the 3rd option.
Yeah, was it? Well, no, it was just a brown ale, but we decided to
Yeah.
put our spin on it with maple syrup and make like, because at that point we were into like these brown ales and dark beers.
We
so
started off drinking dark beer. That was like, I love Guinness. It's not really craft beer, but that's really introduced me into a whole different world of beer.
Oh yeah, speaking my language.
Yeah.
So that first one we brewed it, and we didn't know what we were doing, following the steps.
Yeah.
And every day we would go downstairs and smell the air
We'd
bubble.
check
And be
it.
like, oh my gosh, it smells
Yeah.
like beer. It smells like, you can smell it.
It was. It tasted like nail polish because
Yeah,
we
like
added
nail
way
polish.
too
Way
much
too
maple
much,
syrup,
yeah.
and it affected the fermentation. We were like,
It
oh
was not
man,
good.
dude.
We can. I brought some home because I go home for Thanksgiving to see my relatives in Philly, and we had 3 beers at the time, and they were all bottled. And I brought that one home, and I remember my grandparents, they're very sweet and they're very supportive, but they tried that one and they hated
Yeah,
it.
yeah. A lot of our families are honest too.
Yeah, they're very honest
That's
people.
good, though.
So
Yeah, it's very good.
But yeah, our first couple beers were like that, and then we started to get into beers which, funny enough, are actually beers that we still have, they're just totally tweaked to different. Like,
Yeah.
one of our first ever beers that we loved was Bitch and Betty, and that's not one of our number one selling beers now, but it's totally different. And that's a funny story that, real quick, when we used to do that, we used to brew it. It was a blueberry ale, and we would boil down blueberry juice and add it into secondary to get purple flavor, lots of blueberry flavoring. The beer was very good. The problem was, when you're bottling, you have to use priming sugar and everything. Bottles were exploding. We would open them up, like a waterfall would come flying out. It was nuts.
We have a funny video of
Funny
it.
videos
It was-
of me like super excited to crack open the first
Yeah.
one, and it skyrockets.
It's
I'm
the-
like putting my mouth over it.
It's the
trying to
worst
grab it.
feeling because home brewing is pretty intensive. But then we had like 100 bottles or like 50 to 100 bottles of this. We opened the first one, it's exploding. We're on to like
we
the
were
10th bottle, and
we
it's
were
still
so sad.
exploding. I'm like, okay, well, we just lost this batch that we put so much time in.
I was
But-
exploding them into like cups to just save some
Just
to,
try
to
it, yeah.
drink because it tasted really
Yeah.
good. But
I-
we had a lot of instances like that.
Yeah, we live and we learn. But I remember the first time we brewed a beer that tasted like beer. It was our version of our Alpha Bravo Citrus. And I remember I came home. He was already at my house, and I came home, and he's like, dude, you got to try this. And I had a sip of it. I'm like, holy shit, this tastes like an IPA. Like, we did it. Oh, my gosh.
We're
took
really
us-
doing it,
we're
Harry.
Doing it. We're doing it.
Really did it.
But then ever since I had that, I was like, okay, we can figure this out.
So it really came. It really started off just from trying to understand the process, just from these homebrew kits, to then taking the jump into, which I'm sure a lot of people know, all grain compared to extract. Getting into all grain, having no idea what we're doing with that, and then taking the time to really learn and getting to know, which I'm sure we'll talk later about, getting to know people in the industry who've helped me understand so much of this science and everything, that if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to produce beer like this at all. So it's just been a lot of help from people and a lot of grinding from us to never brew ever, to being able to open our own brewery within a couple of years. So
And we got to give credit to our family members.
Yeah.
We've been crediting our fathers, but our parents, our sisters, our mothers, and everyone has pitched in, especially during operational hours of helping serve, host, and everything. If we didn't have them, we wouldn't be where we're at today. So
and
we're
building
very,
this
very
place up
grateful.
too. I mean, you should have seen everybody working in here. It was like a sweatshop basically. Having everybody in here. We were like
Yeah.
so cheap back in the day when we were so far away from opening. We wouldn't even turn the AC on because we don't want to pay for that. And it
Well,
was
it's
of
tough
the
because
summer.
you don't have cash flow coming in until we're open,
Right.
and you can't be open until we have the license and everything, and that's not going to be able to be obtained until we have a finished product here. So it was a couple of years of just grinding it out, but we're still up for the challenge, and there's a lot of motivation and desire to produce something that we're proud of. I think that really goes into the drive that we have.
It's a lot.
I'm getting fired up, dude. Because I mean, realistically, like, we're in the same boat too. Because like,
Yeah.
to start this, you have to start with absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So to just consistently not give up and just be like, we got to figure this out. Like, there's
Yeah.
got to be something we can do to take the next step, and learning everything, especially with the town and the village. Like, what was the process? Like, was it all trial and error, or did your fathers come in and kind of give guidance on like, hey, the town looks at A, B, and C, so knock this
Yeah,
out,
they
or
didn't-
was it just straight up
they
the
didn't
town
have
showed
any
up?
idea.
It was trial and error.
It was trial and
Okay.
error.
It still is.
The best part about Orchard Park, the village in particular, which we are considered the village, thank God, the village board is awesome. The building
Okay.
inspector is awesome. I call him up anytime, ever since we started till now, be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Can I do this? He's like, no, or yeah, but you got to do it like this. So they're great. They tell you exactly what you need, but we had no idea. Like, we would sit down at these meetings and we're like, what do we even need to get a license?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to go to the federal TTB license as well, and you got to do this and this and this. And it's like, they have never opened their own business. They've just been in business. So it was a learning experience for all of us. But diving into it was crazy because we had no idea all the craziness and the crazy rules that the SLA has.
And all the
Yeah.
forms.
It's
Yeah.
tough. It's a tough business to get into. There's a lot.
We weren't even allowed to brew in here when we had our equipment until we opened. So we barely even got to use that system really
Yeah.
until
geez.
we got our license.
Which was crazy because obviously the community is just waiting for the close to turn to open.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
as soon as that happened, it was like the floodgates.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
like, where's the beer, boys?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
give me like 20 minutes because it's still finishing.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
you ran out of beer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then everyone's like, well, first line's like closed, bro.
Yeah.
And we're like, for what? And they're like, they ran out of beer. I'm like, well, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, kind of, but like,
It's
we
annoying.
want more beer.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, hold on, like, let the guys figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
they're brand new.
So we're
Before we opened, we had like this idea. We're like, okay, well, as soon as we get our license, whether or not the building is completely finished to open, we need to start brewing because we know what's going to happen. We're going to open this door and we're going to sell out a beer that day. So we had like, I think we brewed like 16 or 18 times to stock up kegs before we opened. And
Yeah.
that weekend alone and the following weekend, we were going through so much beer. We just watched our keg inventory dwindle to the point where me and Mikey would go in the cooler to grab a keg and we would come out and we'd be like, dude,
we're
it's
just like
not
shitting
looking
our
good,
pants.
man.
We're scared. We're like, dude, we're gonna have to close down.
There was, I think, one time we squeaked it out somehow.
Yeah.
There was one day out of us being open from August until November of us actually having to close down. It was on a Thursday too. Like we stayed open that weekend, but we closed down on Thursday to double batch and just get more stuff because, brewery is not like a coffee shop. Your
Yeah, it
product
takes
takes over a week to
Right.
make, and we can only make 45 gallons of it. So when you
Yeah.
have a full tap room, an outdoor patio, and a line of people out the door waiting to get in, it's a little stressful.
We're very appreciative, but we're also terrified. So hopefully this
I
new
love the honesty.
yeah, of course. Hopefully the new equipment's really gonna help us. So right now we're jumping from a 1 barrel to a 5 barrel. So,
Oh, nice.
We're really excited, and I want to go on the record and say like we're running out of beer, but we're brewing literally 6 days a week.
Every day.
Every day we get in here at 6 a.m. We get out probably at now that we're canning, but probably get out of here at 6 at night.
Yeah.
So it's literally we're trying our best to keep
We're trying.
up.
I don't want people to think that we're like slacking.
Yeah.
There are certain people, and I wish I knew who it was, but they've seen us back in the early days when we were open. We actually had a blow-up mattress in here.
Yeah.
And me and him would get in here so early in the morning to brew that while everything was heating up, we would go back to bed.
Yeah.
And we were here so early to
Yeah.
get this stuff done because, I mean, we're a new brewery, number one, in a very competitive market with beer. We're in Orchard Park, which is a very competitive area when it comes to quality of things, like restaurants and bars. I mean, the people around here, they expect quality. And if we're open up and we got 2 beers on tap, and there are 2 least selling beers because that's all we have left, that I don't want that impression on us as a brand new business. So we were doing everything we could to keep that tap list full. And we actually were able to have 8 beers on tap the whole time. We somehow
Yeah, we
squeaked
did
it
it,
out.
yeah.
We did it somehow. I don't know how.
The best is when we had we took holidays and we were brew on holidays and we were laying on we didn't lay together on the mattress. We took turns.
We might have.
No shame.
Yeah,
No
of
shame.
It's
course.
fine if you do.
But we had customers come to the door and they're knocking on it because it's locked. And I get up and I
They
literally
see
just
us.
rolled out of bed. I have no shoes on. And they're like, hey, you guys open? I look like a complete mess. I'm like, no, we're not. We're opening tomorrow or whatever.
And the
But-
blow-up mattress was so funny too. It was one that I had when I was a little kid, and it was blue with like these purple polka dots.
Yeah.
And it was just in the floor in here, and anybody who would walk in, we had customers that would be like, "Yeah, I stopped at Beers for my coffee on my way to work." I look inside and I saw someone sleeping. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, we pretty much live here.
The best is when we have someone from the village are coming to check us do something,
Oh, yeah,
and we
yeah.
see them coming, and we
Grab it.
wrap up this and just chuck
Chuck
it
it out
out
the
the
back,
back
yeah.
door because we want to look somewhat professional.
Yeah, it's
But-
great.
So, when you guys finally got this place,
Mm-hmm.
is that when you quit your full-time jobs, or at what point did you stop working? Because you went from doing a home brew to brewing 7 days a week,
Yeah.
literally not sleeping.
It might
Yeah.
surprise you. We both still work full time.
Seriously?
But
Yeah.
we're lucky enough that we're remote with COVID. So COVID helped us
Sure.
in that aspect. So
Yeah.
like during the day, if you were to stop by here Monday through Friday, we have desks in here that we roll in. Our work computers are here. My job is a lot more flexible where I can just focus on the brew days. Mikey is on his computer pretty much the whole time, but we're still doing that right now, which has been helping us because we have not paid any money to us because we're with COVID. I mean, it's a scary time to open a
Sure.
business. We need to make sure that the business survives, and we're building an expansion and we're getting new equipment. So
We're growing it.
We're
We're trying to
growing it.
grow it as
We're
much
putting
as possible.
everything that we get back into the business right now. So we are still grinding with our full-time jobs, and hopefully, when that expansion is built, we could do this full-time. That's a dream.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we still work full-time though.
Wow, that is insane.
Yeah, man, it's honest to God, it's 13 hours days that we have.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much every day.
But I mean, we played sports growing up, so I mean that drive and like just training and practice really helped us from an early age to develop a work ethic, which, and you guys probably know from doing your own business, that you got to have the ability to want to work even off hours when you don't want to, which is something that we both told ourselves. We're like, dude, we know it's going to be a grind. We got to commit. I don't think we thought it was going to be anything like this, because this is a lot more. But we're both I think he likes it too, but we're both it's just us two. So we both enjoy each other's company. Yeah. We have a good time in here when we're want to cry because we're just exhausted.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. I mean, we're in here. We're dead in the morning. We come in.
We don't even talk to each other for at least an hour.
At least an hour. But we're just laughing the whole time. Like everything that we do in here is like funny. We make it funny, even if it's like a stressful thing. Like I think seeing how things have gone motivates us to continue to really like bust our ass. Like the fact that we are able to put in this big expansion within 4 months of opening is so much motivation for us to just continue to get up every day at that time. And like yesterday we closed, but I was in here brewing and doing all this stuff all day. We
also want to, not to cut you off, but we also want to please our customers, because we understand that we have a line out the door. Granted, we have X amount of tables in here, so we want to put in, and maybe we're not jumping the gun on the expansion, but we want to have a place where people can come in and actually sit down and not wait an hour. Like that, we recognize that. We want to have more beer to sell. Well, we're also open. We want to have cans to go, which we couldn't do that because we were running out, but that helped play and jump the gun.
I have one more question about the startup process.
Okay.
So you guys getting into consumers, or that whole part of it, how did you logistically do that? Because you're not licensed.
So we never did it.
Oh, you never did it?
No, we never did it. It was just the fact that someone serious like that saw an interest drew us towards that. So
it basically gave more drive.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I mean,
we had something here.
This is something, this isn't just like, Mikey and Shane's brewing company where no one gives a shit about it.
Right.
It's the branding that got us to that point where we're like, oh my God, someone wants to stock our beer. This is serious. We could do this. So let's give it a try. So that's really where it all came from.
Going off of that, Friday, we drove to Aurora Brewworks for our first ever retail spot.
That was sweet.
We put in Yaba and Boom Toasted. And I think you posted about it maybe a year ago or 2 years ago.
There's a really cool story. It's a very surreal moment for us, especially me. Our first ever business meeting together, talking about opening up a business. I picked him up. We went to Aurora Brewworks. We sat down. We tried a bunch of flights. What beers do we like? What do we not like? I have a notebook at home that says Minuteman on it still. And it has all of our meeting notes. And in that meeting, it was back in 2018, we said in 5 years, our dream would be have one beer on a shelf in here. And this past Thursday, I think, Aurora Brewworks hit us up and was like, can we stock your beer? So we got to actually deliver the beer to them on Friday, see it on the shelf, take pictures of it, and it was like...
We saw the table that we sat at.
Yeah, we saw the
awesome.
table that we sat at was right there, and it was just such a crazy feeling to actually see our product with these crazy labels on a shelf in a retail store. I mean, we never thought we would make it that far. I mean, it's not even that big of a deal when you think about it, but to us, it was just like, I remember that being the first talk of a brewery was there.
Sure.
And then there we are back 2 years later putting it in there.
So when you guys found this spot, we talked that it was a laundry spot before.
Yeah.
What was it like occupying this spot before the expansion and just changing it from a laundromat to a brewery?
It was, dude. We
fun.
came in. The walls were pink.
The ceiling was white.
Yeah, it was ugly.
The floor was just really ugly tile. I mean, hopefully our landlords aren't listening to this.
Yeah,
if
no.
they are, it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. We love it. We could go back anytime.
But you barely made modifications, Mr. Landlord.
But Shane and his father came in first, and then
my dad found this spot. He comes here all the time because I grew up right up in Eagle Heights.
Okay.
And so my dad, when he would go to work, come by this way, grab a coffee, and he knew Dan and George, which are our landlords, and he saw that the laundromat was not here anymore. And this is when we were looking for a building. So
we had a building. We had a building in Elma.
And it fell through.
Fell through.
Thankfully,
yeah.
This is a lot better.
We like this a lot better. But I remember I walked in, and I looked at this place. I'm like, what the hell is this?
It was so small.
It was so, we had to try it. We had to envision, okay, the bar's going to go here. The brewing equipment's going to go there. We had to really, figure it out, the dimensions of it. But we didn't think it was going to turn out to this. I think
We envisioned it more being like a glorified, cool, finished basement bar where you have some standing room, people are hanging out, having a couple beers, to get us to the point where we can make enough money to then grow somehow.
Sure.
This place was literally, our brewing equipment was going to be up against this wall, so you would have had probably from where Mikey's sitting to the bar of room.
Yeah, it was
That's
insane.
it.
Which is like 10 feet at most.
And we ran with it. So this place, we have pictures. We'll post them someday. But we had our whole families in here. We took every single ceiling tile out. We spray painted them all black. We went through like
Worst day of my
95
life,
cans.
honestly.
Worst week.
It was like
middle of the
100
summer.
degrees.
Middle of the summer. Getting those things out and getting them back in is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it's a drop ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
and
Yeah,
we
man.
worked on. We had to sand all the glossy finish off all the trim work in the whole place.
Yeah.
And then the next project we did was just because we were so eager, was we built that flag on the wall, that
Yeah.
cool wooden flag that we have
yeah.
in front of the wall, and that took like a whole weekend with us and the whole crew put it up. And then it was just like a slow process. We put the flooring in eventually. We painted the walls, and then we built the bar by hand. Everything in
Really?
here is
Yeah.
all done by our family.
Where did you source the bar top?
We built it.
Yeah, we built it from Lowe's, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we built this
Jeez.
whole
It's in
entire
3
bar.
pieces, I think.
Yeah, there's three. If you look closely, this is
Okay,
like
so- yeah,
this
so
is
it's
kind
split
of
in
like
three.
our little masterpiece here.
Yeah.
Now that
Stunning.
Now that we're growing,
you.
it's like it's. We wish it was a little bit bigger, but
Like even
we
the
love
stone
it.
finishing on it. Like what was the design technique for that?
So back when I lived in Philly, we had a finished basement, and my dad built a bar in the basement that was similar to this with the stone idea, and we wanted to really be rustic look in here. So we came up, we were gonna do all the metal first, but then we were like, let's do these stones. So my mother, who is also handy, she was the one. Her and Mikey, I wasn't here that day. They were cutting all the pieces and putting them in, and they did the same thing on that pole too. So it was a full teamwork project. This whole place, everything in here besides the frame of the expansion. We did the whole ceiling, all the wood up there, installed all the wood, all the drywall, everything that you see in here we built.
We had time too.
Yeah, we had a lot of time.
because
We had
we were
almost
waiting
2
for the
years.
license. So we're like, okay, let's make it. I mean, we're hopefully going to make it the best that we could, or a nice finished product. But we really took our time with it because we have such a small place that we wanted people to walk in here and be like, oh wow, this is cool. I mean, a lot of people do come in and say like, well, you've done a lot with the space that was given.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is cool. But we're ready for that expansion. Have a second story, which we're really, really excited about.
That's gonna be sweet.
Yeah.
So we've talked to a lot of homebrew clubs, and it seems like the home brewing community is pretty large. So we talked about the licensing, we talked about talking with the town. What are some other aspects that you guys had to go through that was a little bit more challenging than you thought to
So-
start up this whole spot?
I think the biggest thing for us, which is why we've talked to kids our age that they have a dream of opening up a brewery, and our only recommendation, which I don't even know who gave this to us, is just start as small as you can, because we didn't come from someone giving us a shit ton of money. This was
Right.
not like
Money's
hey,
probably the biggest thing
It's
because this is
money.
a very expensive business to get into.
So we brought our dads in, and they gave us a little bit of money to help us buy our brewing system and one fermenter.
Gotcha.
So we had that in their basement for a while. We were home brewing using that and getting to know the system. But other than that, everything that we put into this business and the time and the money was personal, and we actually ran a Kickstarter
We had a Kickstarter
campaign.
that really helped us out. This whole business was probably based on the success of that.
The Kickstarter was huge
If we
for
didn't
us.
get that, we probably would have found another way. But we're really blessed that that helped us immensely.
Can you explain that? So what was the Kickstart? Where was it? And
So
Yeah.
the Kickstarter campaign is a crowdfunding website. A lot of small businesses, a lot of local breweries have done this too. In Buffalo, a bunch of them, like Community Beer Works did it. I'm pretty sure Rusty Nickel did it. So basically what you do is you create this platform, you create a video, and you get people to donate money in a period of time, and they get something in return. So it's not like a GoFundMe where it's just like, here's money. It's like, here, let me give you $20 and I'll get a t-shirt or something like
Gotcha.
that. So our biggest thing is that we built this following of people way before the Kickstarter. So then when we released the Kickstarter, we already had this big fan base, and I don't want
Not
to sound
big.
cocky, not a big fan base. We had a lot of people in Orchard Park, family, friends, and the community that already knew who we were, because we had the building before the Kickstarter. So
they were rooting for us. They wanted a brewery in
Sure.
Orchard Park.
Yeah.
I mean,
So if you go,
there's not a lot of things in Orchard Park.
yeah, there's nothing to do in the village. I mean, there's 2 restaurants in there, but other than that, we're the first brewery that's ever opened in Orchard Park.
Oh wow.
So
It's kind of shocking.
I
Actually.
know, that's what we
Yeah,
always say.
we got a plaque.
Yeah, we have
I
a
think.
plaque over there.
And we're just like, holy
what
crap.
was it called? They gave us
I don't remember.
some legal term thing. They gave us. a proclamation. That's what they gave us.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, so what we did is we created this. We really just marketed this video, and I worked for a while to create this really cool video explaining the business and how it is important to the community and how it helps veterans and first responders. And
It's still out there.
yeah, it's still, if you go to Kickstarter.com and type in First Time Brewing, you can watch the video. And that was back when we were brewing in the basement.
Yeah.
And this place we didn't do anything in here. That was when
Yeah.
it was still a laundromat, so you could see
You
the
can see
original
what it
what it
looks
looked like.
Wow.
We released it on 4th of July too, which
Yeah.
kind of goes well with
Sure.
our brand. So that day
Dropped
we
it on
were
the 4th of July.
so nervous.
Oh yeah.
But it was
Then we went in the Orange Park
rewarding.
Parade. And we were running up and down the street we had these little business cards that said Kickstarter and our business, and then there was a QR scan code, so you could like literally take your cell phone, scan it, take you right to the thing, and then you could donate.
Sweet.
So we had to hit like, I don't even remember. I think our original goal was like $15,000 or something that we wanted to raise, and Kickstarter only lets you do that in a certain amount of days, 30 days. If you don't hit that mark, all the money goes back to the.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
you don't get anything. So
So-
we wanted to have a number that was attainable or realistic because we needed something.
Yeah,
So what about all the shirts and everything that you sent to those people?
So
You guys-
they got them.
Yeah, everybody. No, so we hit the mark. So
Yeah.
we went way over. We ended up with like it was like $22,000 something that
wow.
we had raised, and we raised all that money in the first couple of days too. Like the rest of the month was stress free. We were like, holy shit!
Good for
so
you
we
guys.
got all the
Extremely,
shirts. like,
extremely grateful though. Like we, honestly, God, like we thank everyone that donated.
That was the craziest experience because you're sitting there. We had it linked up to our cell phones on the app, and you get a notification. It just says new backer, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. You click on it, and sometimes it's $5, or sometimes it's $500, sometimes it's $1,000.
It was an adrenaline rush.
It was-
Like, now we understand gambling.
Yeah,
Yeah, seriously.
You guys took the ultimate gamble.
it was.
Yeah.
That was crazy, and that really helped us move forward
Yeah,
with
so
a lot of the
thank
things
you.
we had to pay for. So it was, but like get back to what you were saying about the home brewing to getting into professional. On the brewing side, scaling something up is difficult if you don't know what you're doing. But it's not that difficult, honestly, if you understand like the different equations and stuff like that to scale something. But the biggest thing to get from home brew to
Commercial.
brick and mortar commercial is you either got to get a loan, have a business partner that's got a shit ton of money, or you got to do what we did and grind it out and start as small as you possibly can. We started on a laundromat,
Yeah.
so or a dry cleaner, as small as you possibly can, and that's our only advice for people who are just a home brewer and don't have $1 million in the bank.
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, Shane really dove into understand the brewing process, but it was kind of cool to see, okay, this is what I've learned from school and college. Let's see if I can put it into the real world, and writing business plans, doing forecasts and everything. Kind of just helped us in terms of like being legit, not just being a home brew, but okay, you have a business plan, you have a business account and everything. So that's also very important to brewing, as we've told people in the past, like you have to have people in set roles. Even if they may not like that role, you need to have, okay, I'm going to go to Shane for the brewing, I'm going to go for myself for the business, and you can have your inputs, but it's very important to have people set and do their own thing.
like for example, when we first started off, Mikey was still in college. I had a full-time job, so I obviously had a lot more spendable income.
I was broke. I had nothing. He wanted to buy this equipment. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't have money
So-
right now. I
so
got to pay for gas.
He wrangled me in a lot because I was like going to the brew store and buying all this unnecessary shit that we didn't need.
Still does.
And I still do.
Pull them right out.
Still do. No, but
Keeping the boy
so,
grounded.
So
Yeah,
he's
try
like we work together well because I like to take risks on things and like be very like, we got to do this. This is very important. And
That's
sometimes
me.
it's right.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's-
Sometimes it's
We
right.
balance each other out.
And then he's like, dude, we can't do that. And then he wrangles me back in. And then there's other times where I'm like, I have to convince him.
I
like,
need it. Yeah, like,
we
it's the
got to
right
do
step.
this. Like
Yeah.
this, we have look at the numbers are right in front of you. We got to do it. So we we work very well. I focus all on the brewing. He focuses on his thing, but we're very cool with each other putting input in. Like if he's like, I don't want to do that beer again, I'm like, all right, let's do something else.
Sure.
Or if I say to him like, maybe we should switch up our apparel company. Yeah, we can look into other stuff. So it's like, it's all about having roles. Like you said, you don't want to have 2 or 3 head brewers in a startup company because they're just going to butt heads constantly. He trusts my what I know, and I trust what he knows when it comes to finances.
Sure.
If he says we should not spend money on this, I'm like, okay, I trust you. So
I think that's probably the most underappreciated thing about business is the relationship between business partners, because your business, if you guys have a toxic relationship or start to develop one, your business is going to fold.
Right.
So we always make sure we're in line with each other. There's been times like we argue, obviously, like brothers, but that's necessary in order to be honest with each other. So I think just first and foremost, first line is really about us working together, because we wouldn't be able to move forward if we weren't both on the same page.
Yeah.
we've always had this motto of we'll never make a decision that's important without both of us agreeing. And if we don't agree, we don't do it.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. So, go for it.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So, who has helped you outside of like family and friends in the industry to get you kind of like your equation squared away, or distribution, or like where do you source things? Like, did you talk to somebody like, hey, where do you get this hop and things like that?
So the biggest thing for me was, I knew a good amount of brewing last year, before COVID hit. And once COVID hit, I didn't have a whole lot going on. Like, work was very slow. I mean, restaurants were closed, and I worked in the food industry, so we had nothing going on here. Construction halted on our first expansion, so I had nothing to do. So I had met and talked to the head brewer of 12 Gates in the past at different shows and conventions and stuff. So I was just like, you know what? Let me hit him up. I know he's brewing. I got nothing to do. Maybe he needs a hand or an assistant or something. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, man, I got nothing going on. I would love to come over. I've never brewed on a professional scale like what you guys are doing. Would you mind me stopping over and checking out? He's like, yeah, no problem. We're brewing tomorrow. Come by. So I went, brewed with him, helped him do the whole brew day. We connected, and then I would keep going back. He would hit me up. Hey, I'm brewing today. You want to come over? Yeah, sure, I'll be there. So while I was there, I'm picking his ear. I'm saying, hey, why did you do this? Why did you do that? What does this do to this compared to the other way? And he was very good at explaining things to me. And he really helped me with the idea of scaling from a home brew to a real brew. Because one of my biggest things was, how do I get this beer that I really like that's 3 gallons, the same ABV, same flavor profile, everything, on 45 gallons.
That was the biggest fear.
And I did not know how to do that because we were still never brewing full capacity when we were using that equipment in his basement. We were doing 20-gallon batches because why are we going to brew 45 gallons for ourselves? I mean, I love beer, but that's a lot of beer just to sit on. We didn't have a lot of money to spend. So he really helped me understand brew schedules, pitching yeast, maintaining fermentation perfectly, things that I could not even find online. Techniques that he knew were very important.
That was kind of like his schooling. A lot of guys go to ECC or some brew course, and Shane had the audacity just to go out and ask someone, like, hey, can I just
because
follow
it's not a simple multiplication at all.
No, there was this one equation that he showed me that was literally like, when you're like trying to figure something out and the light just clicks on your head, you're like, holy shit, it makes sense.
Yeah.
He showed me this one thing one day, and I called Mikey when I left. I'm like, dude, I figured it out. So the light flicked on, and I'm like, dude, we got this. I understand how to turn all of these into this. This is what we need to do. And then after that, me and him, once we like started moving in here, me and him stayed in touch. And if I had a question, I'm like, why is this not doing this? Why is this not doing that? He'd come here. I would talk to him on the phone. I'd go there and still help him. We did collabs together. We brewed together a bunch of times still while we were open. And it's just really bouncing around the brewing industry is a lot better than reading something online.
Sure.
From like, I'm not saying home brewers are probably some of the, most talented brewers out there. I don't discredit them, but dealing with someone who's in the industry, brewing on a schedule to maintain, taps is totally different. And having Matt and the guys from Resurgence, Jeff and Drew are great. and John from Buffalo Brewing. We've brewed with him. They're all like, these guys in the industry are just
Russ
fantastic.
from Windy Brew.
Russ is another great contact we have, and they're all just, it's great because now we're at the point where we all bounce ideas off of each other, and they're like, oh, you're doing it that way? Well, next time, like, try this. And I'm like, okay, and it works. It makes sense. So
it's crazy to see like us interacting with these business owners, because we've been patrons to their places and going there, and now we're talking to them and we're like, holy crap.
Right.
Yesterday I was at Resurgence, he was at Resurgence the other day, and they're helping us out with like cleaning kegs and stuff.
yeah, you can see our kegs.
And we saw our
in there.
kegs in their brewing area while I'm eating a burger there. I'm like, this is nuts, because I was literally here last year and this was not even a thought, or
That's
just
awesome.
trying to be a thought.
So before we go to the next section, though, I want to talk about the beer that we just drank, because
Yes.
we got through the entire glass and we didn't even talk
Yeah.
about it. So do you want to talk about what we have
Yeah,
right now?
yeah. So this is we don't have this beer available in cans right now because just with how we've been releasing beer, but
2 weeks it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming back out. This is Hops of Freedom. It's an evolution of a double dry hop New England IPAs that we've had since we opened. It originally opened with a different name, and then we found out a brewery had that name, so we switched it to Hops of Freedom. This is basically my fun experimental New England IPA where I use different hops each time, and I really get to enjoy and experiment really with these new hop strains that are kind of hard to get sometimes, and different techniques with hopping and dry hopping, and during active fermentation or during once the yeast is done. This is kind of what that is. It's a very smooth New England IPA. It changes each time we do it, but it's been one of the number one New Englands that we have here when we're open. So people are happy with this one.
We have a Sergeant Hops, which is just a basic New England IPA. So this is kind of Sergeant Hops on steroids, where we wanted to be able to throw in just a crap ton of hops and different hops and play around with it constantly.
There's a lot of hops in here, but you don't taste it really.
Yeah,
It's pretty smooth.
That's what our customers seem to like when they come in here. The people who don't really like the real hoppy stuff. We use a lot of like the tropical aroma hops. That's kind of what our New Englands are. I have different techniques of dry hop methods and how long I keep them in there to keep like the more tropical flavor and a little bit of bitterness, but not overbearing bitter, and get the hops out and then condition it. So this is kind of like my brewing baby that I like to just keep working on. So
That's awesome. This is very good.
Yeah, thank you.
So when you started, we talked about this too, when you first opened this place, you were primarily focusing on tap, right?
Yep.
So what was that transition into cans, and what was your first can that you made? Who did you use to design it and all that stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't a fun process because we don't have a canning machine. So we're like, okay, we're shut down. We gotta.
Talk about how we originally got the cans when we opened the crowler machine, and then how it switched over. We anticipated.
We had the
shutdown.
canning machine, the crowler machine, and we were like, okay, we know we're gonna get shut down again. We just have a feeling. We bought a crap ton of cans. We sold maybe a handful of crowlers to people, but then we realized that we couldn't sustain both businesses of takeout and taproom sales. So we were waiting for the shift, and then the shift happened where we're like, okay, we got a designer, Tom Kavanaugh is Designing Sarcasm, has really helped us out. He's been great with helping us. We basically release a new beer almost every week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he's really, really good. And then it was kind of more of like, holy crap, we have our own brands now that we can have a label to. Because we had Yaba, we had all of these beers that were like, okay, we have a little design on the beer menu, but it was seeing them on a beer can that, for me personally, kind of put things into perspective. We're like, okay, this is our baby.
Yeah.
Whereas in the glass, it's the beer, but I'm always thinking about branding and creating more of our logos and types of beers to first line is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
But going back to the canning machine, we have people come in, our family members come in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We're here canning. We have all different
crazy.
jobs. We run through like a
crazy.
little line. We do probably like 103 4-packs a night.
Is that it right over there?
That's
Yeah,
it,
that
man.
one.
Is that the what is that
October.
called?
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
that on Instagram all the time. Like,
So-
I
Yeah.
guess people want me to start canning.
People use it. People
wanna
use
come
it
join,
for like,
dude?
yeah, you
I
should
don't
you
know,
come
come
help out. Sure. No, it was the craziest thing because while we were open, we had this, and people were like, "Can you give me
Yeah.
a can?" And we're like, "No, we don't have any cans, but we did have cans, but we knew there was going to be a second shutdown."
And there's a can
There's a
shortage.
can
also.
shortage. It's very
Sure.
tough to get cans right now. So I remember about a week before the shutdown, we were like, "There's gonna be a shutdown. There's gonna be a shutdown." And I remember sitting in here the day, Cuomo was on TV, shutting us down, and we literally walk out to the shed, get all the
Yeah, we're
cans,
like, okay, we've been
and we
prepared.
hand label. We still do. We hand label every single can, and we started hand labeling. It was crazy because, like that, we switched from being open to having to have over 1,000 cans canned in 3 days because
Wow.
we were going to be open on Thursday for takeout.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. It's totally, our business is completely flipped over, but we have, like we've been saying, our family who is always willing to be here with us at night canning to help, because if it was just us two,
Oh my gosh, it would take us forever.
yeah, we would.
I'd probably
You're
walk
bringing the
out.
mattress back out.
Yeah, man.
honestly.
You're labeling on that mattress.
So that's, the canning has been, it's
Yeah,
worked.
and
It's worked.
we're also very blessed that people still come in and buy 4 packs to go, because without that, who knows what would happen. But yeah, people are still coming out. People are still supporting, still buying beer. I mean, it's a nice industry where you can go and buy, like, beer is amazing. It's fantastic. So
Well, the decision behind a 16 ounce,
okay,
what's that all about? Because
Yeah.
there's people that are like, I don't. That's a hell of a lot of beer.
Yeah.
You know, so like what?
That's just like, I think that's where the industry's moving. Like
Yeah.
when you, 'cause
Just
we-
more beer?
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
when we were thinking about getting cans, like before we opened, because we ordered the cans and everything before we ever opened our doors. You go to any brewery right now, except for maybe a couple of beers at like 12 Gates, and every brewery uses 16-ounce cans.
Right.
Everyone.
But it's wild because like the commercialized side of it, like Bud Lights or Bud
They're
Heavies,
still 12,
they're
yeah.
all 12.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's like? Is that the distinct difference between craft and a commercialized beer?
Could be, yeah.
Like, is
Yeah.
that what the industry wants?
I don't know if maybe that's, like you said, that's just like, this is distinct like a tall craft beer can compared to a short Bud
Yeah.
Light. I don't know. We didn't come up with it.
Yeah,
But-
Because
dude,
like,
we're-
could you imagine if whiskey did that, where they're like, we're only selling 1.75 liters?
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just not doing 750
Yeah.
milliliters anymore. That's weak. That's bush league.
yeah,
Like, people would just get off the like, they'd just be on the floor.
yeah. I
you
know.
don't understand. Honestly, like,
We don't
I know, we
understand.
like it. I'm a big boy. I like my beer.
I was just
so.
like, well, I've been drinking 16-ounce cans for I don't even know how long, so that's what we're going with.
Yeah,
think
I like
it
the,
looks
I like the
better.
look of it too. I don't know. The label is like bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels good in the hand. The 12. Now, if we've been so used to drinking 16 ounces that when we jump to 12 ounces, it feels smaller, less beer.
You're like, where'd all the beer go?
We're exactly. Yeah.
We almost actually switched to 12 during the can shortage, but thank God we never did,
Yeah.
because we love the 16.
And also the equipment. The October. The compatibility is for 16 ounce
Oh,
cans,
okay.
so we
Okay.
can't
Cool.
switch to 12 ounces.
Yeah, so
There
you're
you go.
stuck.
It's like
Yeah.
16 or
Sold.
19. I mean, we could jump to 19, but we're
I don't
not.
think I've ever had a 19.
Let's start it right
Yeah.
now. So, yeah. So doing New England IPAs,
Yeah.
Pilsners, ales, those are typical. But when you look at this, like the ones that you just released, you have the Boom Toasted and the Yaba.
Yep.
What was the thought process behind that? I mean, these are different from what you would see normally.
Yeah, so I remember exactly what happened. We were brewing some test batches back long before we opened, actually right before COVID hit. And we had this really great New England IPA that was in the conditioning stage. And I don't know where we came up with the idea,
Yeah, I don't
but
know.
I was like, I don't know, it's maybe like Fruity Pebbles would taste great. in
We
this.
tried the base beer and we're like, okay, this is very tropical. We were getting fruity aromas, and then I don't
I
know.
just ran to Tops. I don't even know if I told anybody, and I just came back with a bunch of boxes of cereal. We put
We
it in.
soaked it. We just soaked it.
Soaked it in a
one
glass first. I pulled off the fermenter, filled up a glass with the beer, put the Fruity Pebbles in the glass, let it sit for like 10 minutes, filtered it out into another glass, and we tried it, and we were like, holy shit,
Yeah,
this
when we
is
had that
really
first
freaking
sip, we're like,
good.
there's no way we just did this right now.
Yeah. So then we were like, okay, I'm going to go get more cereal. We did that batch. We loved it. It was crazy. I mean, I gave some to my friends, and they were just like, this is weird. This is like very good. Oddly,
Yeah.
like when you tell someone Fruity Pebbles in an IPA, they're like, what? But then when they try it, I mean, maybe they don't like it, but a lot of people have really liked Yaba. And then Boom Toasted was our second rendition of doing that. So it was the same exact scenario, but this happened while we were open. We were in here, and we were just trying to come up with a new beer to do. So we took a base beer that we already had in a keg, and we poured it in a glass, put Cinnamon Toast Crunch in the glass, let it sit, filtered it out, and we were like, this tastes just like Cinnamon Toast
we
Crunch.
always like to constantly change our tap rotation. That's been big for us. Is like we've been to breweries, and sometimes it's just the same beer on. Like we want to have a place where people can come and there's a new beer on. So we're always experimenting. I don't know necessarily how we got into cereal. I guess we're just two big cereal guys. But
It was just kind of like a niche that we wanted to get into. You know how like right now the world is sours, fruited sours everywhere.
yeah.
We have never released a sour because I don't know if it's dumb on our part or not, but customers will ask me. I say, well, if I had a sour, 90% of people would only have that.
Sure.
They'll never try my IPA. They'll never try my blonde ale. They'll never try my stout or my spiked seltzer. So I want people to come in here when we open and like our beer, and then we're gonna release a sour.
Right.
We will at some point. And then once we have that, then our customers that already like the stuff we have, then they'll be like, oh my God, a sour, let's try it. But if on opening weekend I had a sour, everybody would have bought that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have like, this is our niche of a cool, trendy product where people are like, oh my God, Fruity Pebbles or Cinnamon Toast Crunch in a beer. That's crazy. I got to try it.
So we're obviously not in the industry, but when you look at other breweries, do they make something that have more of like a fruity hops to it and call it a Fruity Pebble, or do they mostly use like a cereal?
I don't think
I
a
feel like
lot
you're-
of them.
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
any-
I don't
I
want to
don't-
speak for anyone,
Yeah.
but a lot of them are bigger, where you're it's going to be spending a lot of money for that cereal to put into the beer. So I think we kind of be like, okay, not necessarily we care about the margins, but we also care about having a good product. So we
just-
sacrifice that just to have a good, delicious beer.
It's just wild that you actually brew this with Fruity Pebbles. I didn't think that.
Yeah.
I know that there are other breweries out there that do cereal beers. I don't know off the top of my head of any Buffalo ones that consistently do it. I know that I think Riverworks had a cereal beer release at one point, but it was not a staple.
Gotcha.
This is just kind of like our thing. We wanted to have this and our spiked seltzer are kind of like our blueberry are like our niche beers that people come back for constantly, and then we have a great list of IPAs and all that stuff. But the cereal was just out of nowhere for us.
Yeah, and we also don't want to be known as the cereal brewery.
Sure.
Like we have good IPAs,
Right.
we have other stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's
this has
kinda-
kind of just been a hit with people that they just really like it.
And you can go down such a rabbit hole with different cereals.
Yeah.
We're talking with Tom about all these new ideas of cereal beers down the road that we can do, but let's crack one of
Let's
these
try
open.
it, yeah.
Sure.
Let me get you guys a fresh glass real quick.
Now I'm fired up.
Yeah, man. I drink these for breakfast.
I hope you guys don't have anything going on because we're already in an hour. We
Yeah.
have no time restrictions. So
Yeah,
we can
we're
do this
good.
for 4 hours.
I
or
am good.
Whatever.
Let's do it. This has been literally the highlight of my week is waiting for this.
Same.
All right, so
You want me to take your
Let's do
other
Yab.
glass?
We just talked about Yab.
do Yaba first? All right.
You're
this one.
Yeah, I'll
I'm
just-
already hammered.
Proud of you. Proud of you.
All right,
We're doing good things.
Yeah.
So this has been brewing Yaba has been a really fun journey for us. Our biggest problem with I might need to get another can. Honestly.
Yeah, dude, you filled it up so hard.
Just like
For
man
the
pours.
guests, yeah.
We're talking about 16-ounce
sorry,
pours.
sorry.
and now he has
I need
to-
a taste. I need
Let me
a
get
taste.
you a
There
little
you
bit
go.
out of mine because I had way too much in my glass.
That's good.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, so this beer is one that we brewed for a long time. The canning right now is causing us to push things out so fast because we have 3 days to really get it done after the beer is done. So there's so many things that we want to critique about it, but this is kind of just what it is. I wish I could let it sit longer.
We don't
I
have
wish-
the luxury. We don't
I don't have
time.
the luxury of letting it really sit and age like a normal New England IPA.
How long do you normally age them for?
Literally like a week and a half, if that, because we can't do it any longer than that.
Is that because there's thirsty people waiting outside?
Yeah,
because
we need
have
that
to cook
fermenter
it.
space.
Yeah.
So we're like,
Gotcha,
okay, I'm
okay.
pushing him. I'm like, dude, we got to get this in kegs.
Well, we released a double batch of that on Thursday, and it was sold out by the first hour of Friday. So that's 2 batches of beer.
These people need to relax.
yeah, man.
Well, cheers, boys. You
Cheers.
guys-
Cheers, man. Thank you guys so
Excited for
much.
this.
Thanks for
We
having us.
appreciate
Of
it.
course.
That's super
just
light.
like Fruity Petals.
That's super
Oh
light.
my gosh.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's bizarre, man. What's cool for us is to see, especially not even Yaba, but like Alpha Bravo Citrus really hit home for me because we've had that beer ever since we started homebrewing, and now we walk through the tap room or the outside, and we hear our customers ordering like Alpha Bravo or Bitch and Betty, and we're like, this was in our heads when we just started, and now we have random people ordering it, and Yaba, it's just really surreal and kind of cool.
This is fantastic. The fruity notes, the fruity pebbles are very upfront.
Yeah.
And then it lingers, like the ending is all that New England IPA.
Yeah.
This is very delicious.
So
Thank
like
you.
the one thing that just because I'm very picky about the beers we put out, the one thing that I wish we could do is just let it age more. If I had this beer when we were open, it would age more because we weren't cycling through it as much because it
Right.
was people getting glasses rather than buying 7 4-packs of it
Yeah.
at once. So like normally this beer would be more creamy. It would have more head on it. But right now it's having to, oh my gosh, we just added the Fruity Pebbles. So this has to be in keg in 2 hours so that we can get it in cans tonight so that we can sell it tonight type of thing. So it's unfortunate. People are liking it, which is good.
It can
They're
be
not
better.
complaining, but
That's what
Which
we're
is
saying. It's
crazy.
gonna
It's
get better with the new
usually
equipment.
when we are open, it's usually a lot better. I like this, but we're in the craziest situation right now because we're so small and this
Demand is
equipment
too high.
is not built for to-go beer.
Yeah.
That's why we never did it.
Yeah.
So now it's like,
'Cause
holy
it's
shit,
endless, really.
I just brewed this beer for the past 2 weeks and it's sold out in 4 hours.
Yeah.
But it'll allow you the opportunity to create like Yaba G2. So it's like the second
Exactly.
generation of Yaba, and then
Yeah.
that'll be a simple label. Not to give you ideas. I'm just
I'm stealing it.
spitballing.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, we love ideas.
But yeah, so it's just like Yaba G2. People come in, it's super easy to order, and then they get the aged version of Yaba.
Yeah.
Which would be sick.
Yeah,
With
yeah,
our new
definitely.
equipment, I'll be able to like do a double batch, 2 5-barrel batches. One batch, they both age. One batch hits cans, 100%, like 400 4-packs. The other batch straight into kegs.
Just a quick 404 pack.
Yeah.
Dude, that's gonna be so weird to see.
And then we'll be able to like,
We're used to like 40.
Yeah.
So
It's,
are you guys going to continue doing to-go 4-packs?
we want to,
Yeah.
but we're not going to can ourselves.
Yeah, no,
So
we're-
we're going to hire like Revolution. I don't know if you guys have heard
Gotcha,
of them. It's a
yeah.
local mobile canning company.
Until we
that'll
can
come
get a canning line right behind me under the Eagle, we envision to have like a big refrigerator. So if people come in, they can come grab a 4-pack to go. Not necessarily know when that's going to happen because we're so focused on just the indoor. But once that does happen and we can maintain both sides of the business of indoor and outdoor, we want to do that. Because, I mean, we're next to a convenience store, so it actually works out well. We have a lot of people that come up, stop next door, they want to come in, have to go beer. So we really want to help or play around with that kind of customer.
Off question. How many times have you quoted Happy Gilmore by saying my fingers hurt when you do the can and labeling process?
Dude, I complain every single time.
When I tell you the canning process, you better wear your
You're
crappiest
soaked.
clothes. You're soaked
It
in
smells
beer.
like beer.
Your hands are freezing because the way we do it through the tap lines like you're filling a growler or a crowler. So you're pouring, it's overflowing. My hands are like 32 degrees.
Yeah.
And it's just a
It's
grind
sticky, it's
because
tough.
we've been here since 5 a.m.
Yeah, we're brewing. We're working our day-to-day jobs, and then at night,
Our
we're-
families show up and then we do the canning.
and they're like want to have a good time.
They're all excited. They're all
We're-
happy, and
we're
they're like, "Why are you
miserable.
guys so like grumpy?" And I'm like,
because we get here, it's
just
dark
wanna
out. We
bed.
leave and it's dark
and
out.
me and Mikey every night when we leave, we're like, "See you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
See you in 5 minutes."
It better be worth it, pal.
Yeah.
Just get in your car and slam the door.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's we're very lucky on it. We could say it a million times. We're
Yeah,
very
we
lucky to
complain a
have
lot,
them,
but we're really fortunate.
and we're very lucky to have this business. I mean, our parents are like, my mom will take and his mom will take cans home on their free time and pre-label them for us,
Yeah.
so we don't
Nice.
have to worry about doing it. So we come in, cans are ready to go. All we got to do is sanitize them, fill them, seam them, and go. So it's been a weird transition, very weird. I honestly forget what it's like to like pour a glass of beer
Yeah.
because we were the bartenders when we were open.
Sure.
And
Is that why you just poured like a 40-ounce pour?
Yeah, man. I have to tell them, like, dude, we don't have a lot of beer. You gotta like, settle it down.
I know.
So when you guys are open, do you sell food normally?
Yeah.
What's the food menu like?
We have a
Yes.
full food menu. It's over there.
Really?
I can't
Yeah,
remember.
we got burgers, chicken
Who's doing the
sandwiches.
cooking?
We subcontract out, so next door they have a kitchen that's connected.
Oh, cool.
So we have our own cook and everything. So it's a really cool.
I didn't know
business
that.
The
relationship.
food is fantastic.
It's good, yeah.
People rave about the food.
We got Philly cheesesteaks.
Hell yeah.
Different types of fries.
Fried pickles.
We have some things in the works that we want to we can talk to you guys
Yeah,
off camera, but
Sure.
some new business or new
Ventures.
food
food
items that are going to be
ventures.
coming. So we're
More on
excited
the
about
first
that.
line side. So we could talk off camera about that. But
That's super exciting.
Yeah, man, we're excited. I mean, I'm a big food guy, so we wanted to have a place where people can come drink and then also have food. We didn't envision, honestly, starting this business, we were just going to have beer, just have a tap room. But we worked out a nice relationship where we can offer our customers food so they can stay longer and drink more beer, have more of a place where they can come and eat and spend the whole night here rather than just grabbing a drink and then going find a new restaurant.
It's so wild. The first thing that you guys said is you got to start small, and now you're like expansions, food
know.
menus,
Dude, we're ready
all
to
this
go.
beer, all
I'm
this
telling you
stuff.
though, there was absolutely no way in hell that we could have started what we're
Yeah.
trying to do now. We had we had help from our families and the Kickstarter and everything, but we had nothing to do any of that. We barely did this.
Yeah.
We barely were able to do just what we have right now.
Yeah.
And we're just very lucky that with the couple months that we opened, that it was nuts. We would have people, the whole parking lot would be full of people standing outside on a waiting list for in
Which is
August,
bizarre.
September. Me and Mike are looking at each other. We're like, we have people waiting outside.
Yeah,
for
we were
that.
bartending and just look to the left of the window and we see a line and we're like,
I'm not even kidding you. The entire
Panicking.
parking lot. There's no cars here. The whole parking lot, people standing and waiting. People were waiting for
and we
2
felt
hours
terrible.
sometimes.
We were like, dude, we want to like turn over these tables as quickly as possible. But I mean, the people were staying. Like, I'm not gonna go kick out people.
Yeah.
So that's why this expansion, as I keep saying, is very, very big because we can have more tables in here, more chairs, properly social distance if that's still a thing, where we can not have to resort to going outside. We're still gonna have a new beer garden.
Yeah, big beer garden behind the expansion, which will help a lot.
But we're
this
excited
summer.
to get back to that.
This summer's gonna be sweet. This summer, I mean, we're gonna have the second floor. We're gonna have outdoor patio. We're gonna have a huge garage door in the front. We're gonna have live music all the time. I mean, permitting whatever's going on. But we're very excited for the future.
It's going to be like maybe this August when we open was a teaser to what's to come.
Nice.
And now it's like a whole new thing and a whole new venture that we're both excited for of when that's new equipment's in, when the expansion's complete, we're ready to go. Like, it's a whole new challenge that we want to overcome because we're both very competitive. So we want to be like, okay, we did it the first time. Let's try and do it again the second time.
Yeah,
So-
we're very excited.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So social media, let's plug in social media. Where
Okay.
are you guys? What sites?
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram as First Line Brewing. We do have a Twitter account.
We
We don't
never
really
use it.
go on it.
Same as
It
us.
is so
Yeah.
funny. Everybody that we talk to, they're like, we have
Yeah.
Twitter, but whatever.
Yeah,
Who
we
cares?
So mainly Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
On First Line Brewing. That's where you can find all our releases, the hours depending on if we sold out or not. But yeah, really, we're gonna wait until we're open up a little bit to have a website. But everything's working on Facebook right now.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's where a lot of people go. Like when I go out to a brewery or restaurant, I want to see what do they have. I
Yeah.
go right to the social media because personally, like for dinner things, I like to see the plate.
Right.
Me
like, see
too.
pictures.
Yeah.
I go
So-
on Yelp and look at food.
Yeah,
items.
Yelp's good
I look
too.
at the pictures.
But yeah, I'll go right to Instagram. Like if you're going to like say New York Beer Product, they're great with taking pictures of the food. So I could be sitting down at dinner there and be like, I don't know what I want. Let me look through here. Oh my God, that looks amazing. I'm gonna get that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're hitting social media hard as like our website.
We post constant too, so that's kind of our connection to the community or our customers is through there.
Cool.
And then hours. So if somebody wants to come in and buy beer, like when do you guys open and what days of the week, so
Yeah.
that they kind of know?
Well, they sleep here, so any day.
Yeah, man, you come
Essentially.
in, I'll give you a 4-pack anytime.
Yeah.
No, so right now we're Thursday to Saturday for it to go.
Okay.
But then we're gonna do Thursday to Sunday when we resume indoor dining.
Okay.
And then possibly with the expansion, we're gonna push to Tuesday to Sunday. So we're gonna try and add more hours as possible. But it will all be set in stone when in a couple months when everything finalizes. But
Gotcha.
before anything happens or before we leave, I want you guys to try Boom Toasted. This is probably the best rendition of it.
You guys can try everything if you want.
I mean, there's a lot that we have to discuss anyways off camera, so
Okay.
yeah, we're good to go.
Perfect, man.
We got a couple
let's,
minutes.
Let's try this on camera so we can tell people.
Well, yeah,
tell
relax.
the people what's
Relax,
going on.
Dad. Don't worry. Everything's fine.
Ooh, this is light.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
excited for this.
What kind of beer is this? A
So
lager?
it's an ale.
Nice.
And you know, just like the other one, this is part of our cereal series. So
Dude, smell this.
You want to take these?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It literally
man.
smells like you just opened the box of cereal.
Yeah.
But again, that goes back to your process, because I think that the fact that you guys are putting Cinnamon Toast Crunch actually within
It's
it.
legit in it.
Cheers.
It's not a
Yeah.
substitution.
Yeah,
or
because you
anything.
can do like grain and cinnamon and call it Cinnamon Toast
Yeah.
Crunch, but you guys actually do it.
It's just like it, right? And it's 6.8%.
It tastes
my
like
gosh.
it tastes like the milk when you're done eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you'll get
Drunk off it.
obliterated off of it.
Yeah, this is 6.8%, so we don't play around with this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
we're not playing any games,
I'm
all right?
stumbling off the camera after this.
Okay, so
We'll just go next door and get
Yeah,
something
really.
quick.
we always round out this section. So what's next for you guys? We talked about the fermenters. We talked about the upstairs. Is there anything else that we didn't talk about that's next for you that you're excited to announce?
Yeah, so we have we've been doing a lot with some Buffalo Bills players. We did a charity with Reed Ferguson.
Nice.
Oh yeah, tell everybody who Reed Ferguson is, because we got listeners all across the country.
Okay,
Reed is
Reed's
our
the man.
boy. He comes in here, for the season. We haven't seen him since after the season ended, but he would come in here, very supportive of us. He would buy a ton of 4-packs, give them out to, the players in the locker room, give them out to the staff. He lives right down the road.
Yeah, so he constantly drives by and like we wave to him. I don't know if he likes us waving. To him.
So he's the long snapper for the Buffalo
Yes.
Bills,
Yep,
right?
Yeah.
yep, long snapper, and he's been great. So
He's hilarious too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's,
yeah,
a
he's
good,
funny.
he's a good guy. We'll be in here canning, and he'll just pop in and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And we'll
Yeah,
give
we
him a
load him
4-pack,
up with
so-
some 4-packs, but I think what was it, November, and throughout November and December we donate to a charity that he's found of, I guess, is Veterans One Stop. So we did our total beer sales. We did a portion of that, and we donated at the end of December. I think we donated $3,300
Yeah, something like
dollars.
that.
Good for you
worth of
guys.
that. Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
we're small, as you guys can see, so we want to contribute as much as we possibly can. So I was very excited. This is the whole business was built upon giving back to the community.
Yeah.
So we want to be authentic. We want to have a charity and constantly donate and better the community as best as we can.
Which is cool because you guys have the name of First Line, so people immediately think that they're supporting something.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
you guys are continuing to further that. So you're
Yeah.
saying that we will support
Oh, we
these
will.
It's
different.
very important to
yeah,
us.
that's
That's
awesome.
all the business is built on, really.
100%.
It's kind of like something that we're proud of is that during all of this craziness that's going on in the world, that we've continued to, even with all the restrictions, we kept giving back the whole time.
Yeah.
No matter what. There was, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 charities we worked with. We did a really cool one that we were super proud of for 9/11. We did for Steven Siller, Tunnels to Towers organization. And that day we sold a beer called Never Forgotten. It was a blonde ale with lime juice, very good, and we gave 200% of the proceeds to the charity. So like, customer pays $6,
We'd
we
match
pay
that,
$6.
essentially.
Wow, good
We
for you.
gave-
Yeah.
And it was like, we sold like 100 pints or something that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was.
Speak my language with the pints.
Yeah, it was. It was cool. So that's kind of our thing. But like you were saying about future things, we're actually doing a collab with the punter Corey from the
Yeah.
Bills. So we're going to be he's figuring out what charity he wants to do. We're going to be releasing a really cool beer with him. And the name is hilarious. He loves it. He's a real cool
Nice.
guy. He was in here 2 days ago. We talked about it.
It's gonna be. What the beer is gonna be? It's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's
a
gonna
stout.
be
He
a
likes
stout.
stout.
He loves
so
stout. So
It's gonna be
we're
some
be doing
version
something
of a
with that.
stout.
It'll be in cans unless we're reopened by
Sure.
the time that happens. But other big news, I guess, just our reopening is going to be really, really big for us because we're going from a little brewery in your hometown to I feel like we were more of an actual business at that point, having so much more space, professional brewing equipment, a second floor, a huge beer garden. I mean, we're just super, super stoked to take that leap. And I don't think a lot of people know about the expansion. We posted a picture about.
Yeah, we never really talked.
We never really explained to people about it.
Kind of just gonna happen.
We'll explain.
This is done now. So wander that way.
We've explained to some customers that come in, but we haven't really posted it on social media. But so we're very excited for that, and we're excited to try to keep some of our beer in Aurora Brew Works, when we can do it.
Yeah,
And
stay
just-
with us for the next 2 months because
Yeah.
it's just going to be to go, but we have bigger plans that we're waiting for.
And we have a lot of beers, a lot of
beer,
exciting
yeah.
new beers coming out with crazy can labels. And we do have a very exciting collab coming up soon, which spoiler alert, is our first ever sour that's
Yeah.
going to be released.
Nice.
So we're actually going to be doing that in the next 2 weeks with a local brewery. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome.
So
Well, you guys are talking about this summer being huge for you. We're juiced already.
Yeah, man.
We're,
Yeah.
we're very excited.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for being on our show. We
Of
really
course.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys for
This
having
beer is fantastic. They do everything the right way. So please come check them out. First Line Brewing in Orchard Park, right next to Beers, and you guys are awesome. So thank you very
Thanks,
much.
man.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
thank you guys. This was awesome.